I killed my twin sister on the night she was supposed to marry the man who'd stolen everything from me. Except it wasn't murder, because I was already wearing her skin like a second chance at life. The beach house she inherited, that sprawling glass monstrosity overlooking Malibu's waves, echoed with her final scream as I whispered the truth she'd buried for years. Our father's blood was on her hands, not mine. And as the salty Pacific wind whipped through the open doors, I realized revenge wasn't about ending her. It was about making her watch me dismantle the empire she'd built on my broken back, one shattered lie at a time. My name is Brooklyn Hale, and if you think identical twins are just two sides of the same coin, you're dead wrong. Madison and I came into this world screaming at the same California hospital in 1998, but from the jump, she was the golden child, the one mama dressed in frilly sundresses while I got hand-me-downs stained with sea salt from Dad's fishing trips. We grew up in a cramped bungalow in Venice Beach, the kind of place where the roar of the ocean drowned out family fights, and the tourists gawking at street performers made you forget how broke you really were. Dad was a small-time real estate hustler, flipping fixer-uppers for chump change, and Mom waitressed at a dive bar on the boardwalk, slinging overpriced fish tacos to sunburned Midwesterners. Life was gritty, but it was ours, until the accident that flipped everything upside down. It happened when we were 16. Dad was driving us back from a rare family outing to Santa Monica Pier, the summer sun dipping low and turning the Pacific into a sheet of molten gold. Madison was in the front seat, chattering about some boy from school, her laughter light as cotton candy. I was in the back, sketching waves in my notebook, dreaming of the day I'd escape this coastal cage for art school in New York. Then, out of nowhere, a semi-truck swerved, tires screeching like a banshee, and plowed into us. Metal twisted, glass shattered, and the world went black. When I woke up in Cedars Sinai, tubes snaking down my throat and monitors beeping like angry hornets, the first face I saw was Madison's, pale and perfect, sitting up in her bed across the room, as if she'd just napped through a thunderstorm. But Dad, he didn't make it. The official report said he'd been behind the wheel, distracted by a phone call, veering into oncoming traffic. Manslaughter. That's what they charged him with in death, the kind of irony that makes you laugh until you choke. Except it wasn't him on that phone. It was Madison. She'd snuck his cell to text her crush, and when Dad caught her, he'd grabbed for it. The swerve, the crash, it was her fault. But she lied. Oh God, did she lie? To the cops, to Mom, to the insurance adjusters with their clipboards and fake sympathy. Daddy was yelling at me about boys. She sobbed in the hospital, her voice cracking just right. He looked away for a second, and just like that, the blame shifted. The payout came small, enough for Mom to bury him and keep the lights on, but Madison? She got sympathy, scholarships, a fresh start. Me? I got the whispers, the sideways glances at school. Brooklyn's the wild one, the one who distracted him. By senior year, I was the family screw-up, expelled for fighting a girl who called me a killer's kid, while Madison waltzed into UCLA on a grief-fueled essay about loss and resilience. Fast forward a decade, and the chasm between us had widened into the Grand Canyon. I bounced around odd jobs, bartending in dive bars off Sunset, waitressing at hipster cafes in Silver Lake, scraping by in a studio apartment that smelled like damp regret. Madison, she climbed. Our Uncle Harlan, Dad's estranged brother and a big-shot developer in Orange County, took her under his wing after the crash. She reminds me of your father, he'd say, ignoring me like I was a smudge on the family photo. Harlan built strip malls and condos that dotted the SoCal skyline, his empire greased by backroom deals and politicians in his pocket. Madison interned for him straight out of college, her MBA from Pepperdine a golden ticket. By 28, she was VP of Acquisitions, living in a penthouse in Newport Beach, dating tech bros who dropped six figures on weekends in Cabo. Me? I was still pedaling that rusty Schwinn bike Dad gave me for my 10th birthday, the one with the squeaky brakes and a basket full of unfulfilled dreams. It was my lifeline, weaving through LA's traffic-clogged veins, delivering takeout to the very elites Madison schmoozed with. We'd see each other at family holidays, Mom's annual Thanksgiving turkey in that same Venice bungalow, now sagging under the weight of medical bills from her diabetes. Madison would sweep in with gifts, designer scarves for Mom, a bottle of mid-shelf whiskey for me, like pity wrapped in cellophane. "Broke, you're doing great," she'd say, her smile all teeth and no warmth. That artist's vibe suits you. I'd nod, biting my tongue until it bled, because calling her out meant shattering Mom, who clung to the fairy tale of her successful daughter. But the real gut punch came 6 months ago, on the night Harlan died. Heart attack in his Century City high-rise. They said, too many stakes and stress. The reading of the will was in his lawyer's office on Wilshire, a sterile box of mahogany and money. Madison sat there in a black sheath dress, legs crossed like a queen, while I fidgeted in my thrift store jeans, the bike chain grease still under my nails. The lawyer, a shark named Goldstein with a comb-over and cufflinks, cleared his throat. To Madison Hale, my niece, for her diligence and spirit, the Malibu beach house, valued at $8.2 million, free and clear. The Newport condo, and 40% of Hale development stock. My turn. To Brooklyn Hale, the 1987 Schwinn bicycle in the garage, as a reminder of simpler times. The room went still. Mom gasped. Madison's eyes flicked to me, a flicker of something: guilt? Triumph? Goldstein slid the keys across the table, and I swear, in that moment, I saw Dad's ghost in the reflection of the window, shaking his head. Simpler times? That bike was the last thing he touched before the crash, the one he'd promised to fix for our beach rides. It was a slap, a dismissal, Harlan's final fuck you for the girl who'd never been enough. I didn't cry. Not then. I pedaled home through the rain-slicked streets, the will tucked in my backpack like a death warrant. Mom called later, sobbing apologies, but Madison? She texted, sorry, sis. Uncle H was old school. We'll figure it out. Dinner soon? Figure it out. As if my life was a puzzle she could reassemble with her checkbook. That night, staring at the ceiling cracks that mapped out my failures, I made the call. Not to her, to the private investigator I'd scraped pennies for over the years. Dig deeper, I told him. On the crash. On Harlan. On Madison. What he uncovered over the next weeks was a Pandora's box of rot. Dad hadn't just been flipping houses. He'd been laundering money for Harlan's shadier deals. Off-books condos tied to cartel cash from down south. The crash? Madison knew. She'd overheard Dad confronting Harlan weeks before, threatening to go clean. Her phone grab wasn't just teen rebellion. It was panic, a desperate bid to delete texts from Harlan pressuring Dad to stay quiet. And the lie she told? It shielded Harlan, kept the empire intact. In return, he'd groomed her, erased me. The bike? A cruel joke. Harlan's way of saying I was the loose end, the one who might remember too much. But the Real bomb dropped 2 days before Madison's wedding to Ethan Voss, the Silicon Valley venture capitalist who'd bankroll her next power play. The PI sent grainy photos. Madison and Harlan, not uncle-niece cozy, but something twisted. Hotel rooms in Vegas. Emails coded like foreplay. She'd been his mistress since college, trading secrets for stock tips. Dad found out. That's why the confrontation. And when Harlan wrote the will, it wasn't oversight. It was erasure. Me, the twin who looked just like her, the one who could unravel it all if I ever spoke up. I confronted her at the rehearsal dinner, a swanky affair at the beach house itself. The place was a fever dream of wealth. Infinity pools spilling into the ocean view, walls of glass framing the sunset like a postcard from hell. Guests in linen suits sipped rose. Ethan's tech bros droning about NFTs while Madison glided among them, her engagement ring a diamond grenade. I crashed it on the bike, chain rattling like Judgment Day, salt-stiff clothes dripping on the teak floors. Brooklyn. She spotted me first, her laugh a brittle shield. What a surprise. Come, meet Ethan. I ignored him, the golden boy with his man bun and microbrew breath. We need to talk. Now. Her eyes narrowed, but she played the part, leading me to the master suite upstairs, away from the chatter. The room smelled of her, jasmine and ambition, and there, on the nightstand, was Dad's old watch, the one she'd lost after the funeral. Thief of hearts and heirlooms. You stole his life, I hissed, slamming the PI's folder on the bed. Photos spilled out like confetti from a funeral. The crash. Harlan. All of it. She didn't flinch. Didn't even blink. Instead, she smiled. That slow, serpentine curl that had always marked her victories. Oh, Brooklyn. Sweet, broken Brooklyn. You think this changes anything? Dad was collateral. Harlan was. Necessary. And you? You're just the echo I never asked for. Necessary. The word hung there, a guillotine blade. She stepped closer, her hand on my arm, nails digging in like claws. Walk away. Take the bike. Be the artist failure. Or I'll make sure everyone knows what you did that night. The weed in your system. The sketchbook full of suicidal doodles. I covered for you, sis. Remember? Lies on lies. I'd been clean, but she'd planted the seeds years ago, whispering to counselors, forging notes. Gaslighting, American style. My vision blurred, rage boiling over. And in that haze, I lunged, not to hit her, but to grab the watch. We tumbled, a tangle of limbs and identical faces, crashing against the balcony rail. The ocean below churned, black and hungry. Then it happened. A jolt, like lightning without thunder. Our eyes locked, and for a split second, I saw me. Inside her. Panic flashed in her gaze, my gaze, and then snap. The world inverted. I blinked, and suddenly, I was staring down at my own body, sprawled on the floor, gasping. No, her body. Madison's body. Lithe, unscarred from the crash, pulsing with the vitality I'd lost to phantom pains. What the fuck? My voice, her voice, came out silky, commanding. I touched my face, felt the smooth jawline, the earrings dangling like chandeliers. Body swap. Impossible, straight out of some B-movie, but real. The universe's sick joke, or maybe Dad's ghost playing cosmic PI. Downstairs, laughter swelled. The wedding loomed. The old me, Madison in my skin, scrambled up, eyes wild. Give it back. Brooklyn, you bitch. I clamped a hand over her mouth, my mouth, and shoved her into the closet, the door clicking shut like a vault. Shoo. Your guests are waiting, Madison. Or should I say, Brooklyn. Heart pounding, I straightened her dress, my dress now, and descended the stairs, every step a theft, every smile a weapon. Revenge wasn't a plan anymore. It was possession. Slipping into Madison's life was like stealing a Ferrari with no keys. You just hot-wired the engine and floored it, hoping the cops didn't notice the plates were bent. That first night, after locking me in the closet with a belt looped through the knob, I played the blushing bride-to-be to perfection. Ethan pulled me onto the deck for toasts, his arm heavy around my waist, breath hot with craft IPA. You okay, Mads? Looked spooked up there. I leaned into him, channeling her coy tilt of the head, and murmured, just cold feet. Brooklyn being. Brooklyn. The guests chuckled, that polite LA titter that covered unease like spray tan. Inside, I was a storm, calculating angles, memorizing faces, mapping the exits of this glass palace built on buried bones. By midnight, the party thinned, limos purring away into the coastal fog. Ethan passed out on the sectional, snoring through an ambient haze, oblivious to the imposter in his bed. I waited until the house fell silent, then crept back upstairs. The closet door rattled softly, her fists, my fists, pounding Morse code for help. I cracked it open, and there she was, my old body, wild-eyed and feral, sweat matting the pixie cut I'd hacked off years ago to spite her symmetry. You have no idea what you're doing, she spat, voice hoarse from muffled screams. Ethan will know. Mom will know. Give it back, Brooklyn. This isn't you. I crouched, eye level now in her stolen form, and let the words drip like venom. This is exactly me, Madison. The me you erased. Dad's blood? On your hands. Harlan's bed. Your sheets. And that will. Your reward for whoring out our family name. Her flinch was delicious, a crack in the porcelain. But she rallied, always the fighter. It was survival. Dad was going to tank everything. Tell the feds about Harlan's laundering, drag us all down. I saved us. You were too weak, too busy doodling your little waves to see the big picture. Weak. The word ignited something primal. I grabbed her, me, by the collar, slamming her against the shelves. Designer shoes tumbled like dominoes. Weak? I took the fall for you. The stairs, the jobs that dried up because no one hires the crash girl. You got the penthouse. I got eviction notices. But now, I released her, stepping back to admire the mirror. Her mirror, framing my new reflection. Flawless skin, curves honed by Pilates and privilege. Now, I'm the one with the power. And you're going to watch me burn it down from the outside. She lunged then, nails raking my arm. Her arm, but I was faster in this body. Years of biking building endurance she squandered on spin classes. I pinned her, zip-tying her wrists with the silk scarf from the dresser, the one Harlan gifted her for services rendered. Sleep tight, sis. Wedding's at dawn. I gagged her with a pillowcase and left her there, curled in the walk-in like a discarded dress. Downstairs, I poured a scotch. Neat, the way she liked it, and scrolled her phone. Password, Dad's birthday. Amateur. Text from Ethan. Can't wait to make you Mrs. Voss. From her assistant. Board meeting Tuesday. Harlan's merger docs ready. And buried in deleted folders, the smoking gun. Voicemails from Harlan. Voice gravelly with lust. Come to the office, kitten. We need to discuss your promotion. Morning broke bloody, the sun clawing over the horizon like a wound reopening. The beach house buzzed with florists and photographers. White orchids everywhere, veiling the rot. I dressed in the lace gown, a Vera Wong cage of tulle and lies, and walked down the aisle on Mom's arm. She beamed, tears smudging her mascara, whispering, I'm so proud, Madison. Ethan's perfect for you. Perfect. If only she knew her perfect daughter was trussed up 50 feet away, listening to Vivaldi through the walls. The ceremony was a blur of vows I recited from muscle memory, hers, now mine. In sickness and in health, I said, locking eyes with Ethan, his smile boyish and blind. Rings exchanged, rice tossed, and then the reception, a catered extravaganza on the sand, with a string quartet playing covers of Fleetwood Mac. I danced with Ethan, his hands on my hips guiding me through a waltz I faked from YouTube tutorials, while Brooklyn, the real one now, stewed in her makeshift cell, probably plotting her escape. She almost did, too. Midway through the cake cutting, a muffled thump echoed from upstairs. Guests paused, forks hovering over tiers of lemon chiffon, but I laughed it off. Just the cat. And Ethan bought it, too buzzed on champagne to question. Later, when the last stragglers left and the cleanup crew descended, I slipped away to check. She'd wormed free of the ties, bloodying her. My knuckles on the door, but the balcony was locked, the drop to the rocks a siren's call. Help, she croaked as I entered, voice raw. Ethan, anyone. I backhanded her, hard, the slap echoing like a gunshot. Scream louder. See how long it takes for them to realize their golden girl is a fraud. She crumpled, sobbing, and for a heartbeat, pity flickered. This was my twin, after all, the girl I'd shared secrets with under boardwalk piers, trading dreams of escape. But pity dies quick when it's laced with betrayal. You're going to confess, I told her, dragging her to the in-suite bathroom and cuffing her to the towel rack with Ethan's monogrammed belt. On video. Everything. The crash. Harlan. The will. Or I leak it myself and pin the swap on you. Say you orchestrated it. Some black market body snatch bullshit to dodge debts. Her laugh was bitter, broken. You think you can pull this off? I'm the one who knows the board. The investors. They'll eat you alive. But doubt crept in, a shadow under her eyes. I set up her phone on a tripod, hit record, and watched as she broke. Words tumbling out in a confession that would topple empires. Crash details, Harlan's touches, the laundering schemes Dad died trying to stop. When it ended, she slumped, defeated. What now, Brooklyn? You gonna kill me in my own body? Not kill, I said, pocketing the phone. Just relocate. I dosed her with a crushed Ambien from the medicine cabinet, washed down with sink water, and when she sagged unconscious, I hauled her, me, into the trunk of Ethan's Tesla. Destination. My old studio in Echo Park, the one with the leaky roof and nosy neighbors who minded their own business for a 20 spot. The drive was a revelation. Malibu to LA proper, windows down, wind whipping my hair, her hair, free. Billboards for luxury condos mocked me, but now I was the punchline's author. Dropping Brooklyn at the apartment felt like shedding skin. I left her bound on the futon, a note pinned to her shirt. Live my life. Pedal the bike. And remember, I'm you now. By dawn, I was back at the beach house, packing Madison's suitcase for a fabricated honeymoon delay. Family emergency with broke. Ethan bought it, the sap, and I spent the next days in her penthouse, shredding documents, charming her assistant over Zoom calls, and wiring funds to anonymous accounts. Revenge wasn't destruction, it was infiltration. But cracks formed quick. Ethan's touches lingered too long, probing for the wife he thought he knew. You're different, Mads. Distant. I'd deflect with sex, mechanical, her body responding like a well-oiled machine. But it hollowed me out, each moan a theft from my soul. And Mom called, voice quivering. Where's your sister? She missed book club. Lies piled up, A house of cards in earthquake country. The board meeting was my first real test. Hale Development's glass tower in Irvine gleamed like a monolith, executives in Brooks Brothers suits nodding as I, Madison, unveiled the merger with Voss Ventures. Ethan's outfit, funneling crypto cash into Harlan's old projects. I aced it, dropping jargon I'd crammed from her emails, but one exec, a weasel named Hargrove, lingered after. Harlan would be proud. Though, that twin of yours sniffing around the well. Trouble. I smiled, Madison's ice queen beam. Brooklyn's harmless. A phase. But his eyes said he knew more, perhaps the laundering whispers Dad's death silenced. That night, back in the penthouse, I hacked her laptop, password unchanged, and found the kill file. Emails plotting my erasure. Not just the will. Insurance policies, forged psych evals labeling me unstable. She'd planned to institutionalize me if I ever pushed back. Rage renewed, I escalated. Leaked the confession video to Hargrove anonymously, with a nudge, ask about Harlan's niece. By week's end, whispers turned to shouts. Board in uproar, stock dipping like a stone. Madison's empire teetered, and from my burner phone, I texted the real her. How's the bike? Pedal faster. It's all crumbling. Her reply, you won't win. I'll tell them everything. But she didn't. Fear, or maybe the slow grind of my old life, wearing her down. I could picture it. Her in my grease-stained jeans, dodging traffic on the Schwinn, delivering lattes to the elite who once bowed to her. Poetic, punishing. Yet the swap's mechanics haunted me. Was it permanent? A dream? I'd catch glimpses in mirrors, my old soul in her eyes, and panic would claw up. One night, after a gala where I schmoozed donors in her emerald gown, Ethan confronted me. Who are you? He demanded, breath whiskey sour. I'd overplayed, quoting Dad's fishing stories she never heard. Madison wouldn't know that. I froze, heart hammering. What are you talking about? He grabbed my wrist, twisting. The way you hold your fork. The sketches in your bag. Waves, like hers never drew. You're not her. Violence flickered in his eyes, the kind born of betrayed entitlement. I wrenched free, knee to his groin, biker reflexes in executive heels, and fled to the balcony. Below, the bay glittered, a black mirror. Jump? Confess? No. I turned, phone in hand, dialing the PI. Need a favor. Big one. Ethan's accusation hung over the penthouse like smog over the 405, thick and choking, but I couldn't afford to choke. Not when the board was circling, Hargrove's leak turning into a feeding frenzy. Anonymous tips to the SEC about Hale's irregularities, stock plummeting 15% in a day. Madison's throne was splintering, and I was the termite queen gnawing from within. But Ethan? He was the wild card, the husband who suddenly saw through the glamour to the grit underneath. I locked the bedroom door that night, barricading with a Louis Vuitton trunk, and plotted by the glow of her laptop screen. Divorce him? Frame him? No, use him. Twist the knife deeper. Morning brought coffee and confrontation. He was in the kitchen, nursing a black eye from my knee, scrolling news on his tablet. We need to talk, Mads, or whoever the hell you are. His voice was steel, the venture capitalist emerging from the puppy dog facade. I poured espresso, casual as Sunday brunch, and sat across the marble island. Ethan, honey, I'm stressed. The merger, the family drama. Bullshit. He slammed the tablet down, headlines screaming. Hale Developments probed for ties to deceased founder's nepotism scandal. You knew about Harlan. The affair. I saw the emails last year, buried in her. You're a cloud. But this? You're unraveling it all. For what? Jealousy. Jealousy. The word was a spark to dry tinder. I laughed, low and throaty, her laugh that always disarmed. Not jealousy, Ethan. Justice. Madison's been playing you since day one. Your money laundering her dirty projects. Your rings sealing the deal. But me? I'm the upgrade. His face paled, then flushed, and he lunged across the island, hands gripping my shoulders. For a second, I saw the real him. Not the tech bro savior, but a man who'd built his fortune on apps that preyed on addicts. Algorithms that widened the wealth gap. You're insane, he growled. I'll expose you. Call the cops, body swap. They'll lock you up as a schizophrenic. I twisted free, grabbing a paring knife from the block, not to stab, but to press the flat against his throat, just enough gleam to make him freeze. Expose me, and I'll expose you. Voss Ventures offshore accounts? Tied to Harlan's cartel flips. I have the files. One click, and you're cell block buddies with narcos. His eyes widened, bluff, half true from the PI's digs, but it landed. He backed off, hands up, sweat beading on his brow. What do you want? Alliance, I said, lowering the knife. For now, play along, keep the merger alive. In return, you get to keep your freedom. And maybe, I trailed a finger down his chest. Her flirtation dialed to 11. Me. He swallowed, desire warring with disgust, and nodded. But men like him always were. Ego the ultimate aphrodisiac. With Ethan leashed, I accelerated the downfall. From Madison's office, I greenlit audits that accidentally unearthed Harlan's skeletons, falsified permits, kickbacks to city councilmen who'd fast-tracked his builds over low-income zones, displacing families like ours once were. The press ate it up, LA Times front page. Eris's legacy, corruption or coincidence. Protests sprouted outside Hale HQ, signs waving. Blood money builds beaches for the rich. I attended one incognito, in my old jeans and hoodie, slipped out for the thrill, watching as Brooklyn was spotted in the crowd, pedaling up with a megaphone borrowed from some activist buddy I'd cultivated in my bar days. She'd adapted, my fierce twin, turning my scraps into spears. A text from her burner. Enjoy the show? It's just the opener. Her adaptation unnerved me. I'd expected breakdown, not backlash. She started a blog, the other twin, unsilenced, anonymously at first, then bold, posting my old sketches, stolen from the apartment, with captions about erased voices. It went viral in indie circles, podcasts inviting broke Hale to spill on nepotism and grief. Mom called me, Madison now, in tears, your sister's stirring trouble. Says things about your uncle. Is it true? I soothed her with lies, wiring cash for her meds, but doubt seeded. Was I becoming the monster? Stealing not just her life, but fracturing the fragile peace I'd left intact? The controversy peaked at the shareholder meeting in Irvine, a coliseum of suits and suspicion. I took the podium in a power suit, hair in a chignon, channeling Madison's boardroom swagger. Cameras flashed as I addressed the chaos. Hale Developments is committed to transparency. We've initiated a full review. Booze interrupted, a shareholder in the front row shouting. What about the beach house? Sold to cronies while families flood out. It was Hargrove's plant, but the room erupted, chants of resign, echoing off the vaulted ceiling. Ethan, at my side, squeezed my hand. Support, or warning, as security dragged the heckler out. Backstage, panic clawed. This was the climax I'd engineered, but the backlash splashed on me now. Stocks cratered another 20%, lawsuits loomed. And Ethan? He cornered me in the green room, eyes hard. This ends now. I know it's you, Brooklyn. Madison's in your body, posting that crap online. She's got proof, the closet ties, the video timestamps. One word from me, and it's over. My stomach dropped. She'd played me, turning captivity into Counter-Strike. You wouldn't. I will. Unless you swap back. Tonight. His ultimatum hung, a noose tightening. I nodded, feigning defeat, but inside, gears turned. The swap how? The balcony fight, the watch's talisman? I'd pocketed it post-ceremony, wearing it like a crown. If it was the key. That night, we drove to the beach house. Irony's encore. Ethan thought at a reconciliation, I knew better. Madison was there, waiting, my old bike chained to the rail, my figure silhouetted against the moonlit waves. Let her go, Ethan barked, but she just smiled, that twin curl. Oh, Ethan. Still the lapdog. The confrontation was operatic, 3 shadows on the deck, wind howling accusations. Madison spilled it all, to him, to me. The swap was an accident. Harlan's gift, an experimental neurodevice from a Black Ops lab, meant to share visions for deal-making. She'd tested it on me during a sister spa day months back, a hidden pulse in the sauna steam, meant to implant loyalty. But the crash anniversary triggered a full inversion, souls hijacked. I was fixing it, she claimed. Until you went rogue. Lies still. But Ethan bought enough to lunge at me, grappling for the watch. We tumbled, a mirror of that first night, bodies clashing, identities blurring. Madison joined, a 3-way war, fists and fury. In the melee, my knee connected with Ethan's jaw, crack, and he went down, out cold. Madison and I faced off, panting, the ocean roaring approval. You can't keep this, she gasped, circling like a shark. It's poison. Maybe, I said, clutching the watch. But it's mine now. I lunged, not to fight, but to force the device, tucked in her pocket, a sleek fob from the swap night. She resisted, nails raking, but I was stronger in her prime form. As I jammed it against her temple, the jolt hit again. Vision split, worlds colliding. But I held on, willing it partial, a glimpse, not a full switch. In that electric limbo, truths flooded, hers, unfiltered. Dad's confrontation, not just laundering. Harlan had ordered a hit on a whistleblower, Dad refusing the contract. Madison knew, covered it to protect her lover. The crash? She'd sabotaged the brakes weeks prior, a prank gone wrong, testing Harlan's garage tech. Me bearing the blame? Her masterpiece, ensuring I'd never threaten her ascent. Horror surged, but so did power. I twisted the fob, locking her out. Partial paralysis, her body-mind to command, voice silenced to whispers. She collapsed, eyes pleading, trapped in limbo. Ethan stirred, groaning, and I turned, watch gleaming. Time to end the show. With Madison reduced to a puppet, her body limp, eyes flickering impotent rage, I dragged her and Ethan inside. The beach house's cool marble a crypt for the living. The fob hummed in my pocket, a devil's remote. Its origins Harlan's final obscenity, DARPA castoff, meant for interrogation, soul-mapping spies' lies. Madison had weaponized it for control, but now it was my Excalibur. Ethan came to zip-tied to a chair, blood trickling from his split lip, demanding answers and sputters. What the hell is this? Police now. I knelt, Madison's manicured hand on his knee, voice velvet over gravel. Police? They'd love this. Tech bro and heiress in a body swap, threesome gone wrong. But you, Ethan? Your apps track users' despair, feeding data to hedge funds that short mental health stocks. Harlan funded your first round, cartel seed money. Smile for the camera. I propped her phone, recording his denials turning to bargains. I'll sign it over. The merger, the beach house, everything. Tempting, but mercies for suckers. Too late. You're the fall guy now. I uploaded clips to a dark web drop, timed for dawn release. Voss Ventures exposed. Hale's merger a Trojan horse for fraud. By morning, sirens would wail, not for me, but for them. Madison watched from the floor, mouthing pleas, her mind screaming in silence. Part of me ached. The twin bond, frayed but fibrous, but betrayal's acid had dissolved it. You made me the ghost, I whispered. Now haunt your own house. I left them there, doors locked, fob pulsing interference to jam signals. The drive back to L.A. was cathartic, radio blasting Springsteen, Born to Run, as the 101 unspooled under sodium lights. My old apartment loomed, a squat stucco scar, but I bypassed it for Mom's bungalow. She answered the door in a robe, curlers in her graying hair, confusion creasing her face. Madison? What? I pulled her into a hug, her frail frame melting against me. It's Brooklyn, Mom. Sort of. The confession spilled then, halting at first, then torrent. The crash, the lies, the swap. She listened, coffee cooling untouched, tears carving channels in her foundation-cracked cheeks. My girls. What? Sobs racked her, but when I showed the fob, proof in circuits, she hardened, the waitress who'd faced down drunks emerging. End it. All of it. Her blessing was absolution. We drove together to the PI's office in Koreatown, a hole in the wall with flickering neon and takeout boxes. He was a grizzled ex-cop named Ruiz, tattoos snaking up his neck like indictments. This sci-fi shit better pay double, he grumbled, but verified the fob specs via a hacker contact. Experimental, irreversible without a counterpulse. One shot, kid. Fry it wrong, you're both vegetables. The counter was a jury-rigged EMP coil, humming menace on his workbench. Madison's video confession played on loop, her voice damning from afar. As Ruiz calibrated, my phone buzzed. News alerts. Voss arrested in dawn raid, fraud allegations. Hale heiress missing amid corporate collapse. Perfect chaos. But then, a twist, Mom's hand on mine. What if it's not her fault? What if Harlan? Doubt, the serpent. But no, the fob warmed, and I pressed it to my temple, Ruiz hitting the switch. Agony lanced, neurons firing like fireworks in a blackout. Visions assaulted, not just Madison's sins, but mine. The fights I'd picked, the jobs I'd quit, resentment festering into sabotage. I'd keyed her car once, anonymously tipped her exes. Twins, mirrors, her darkness mine, amplified by opportunity's cruel fork. The jolt peaked, and I collapsed, world fracturing. When I woke, it was to Mom's voice, Ruiz hovering. Brooklyn? Honey. I blinked, my eyes, my scars, my hands. Back. But the fob? Melted slag. Permanent? Or echo? A test. I dialed the beach house landline. Click. Hello. Ethan's voice, frantic. Brooklyn here, I said. Silence. Then a whisper, Madison's, faint through the line. Sis. She'd swapped back too. Partial, trapped in her shell but aware. The device had bridged us, souls scarred but synced. It's over, I told her. Confess, or I release everything. She did. Press conference days later, Madison at a podium in handcuffs, Ethan beside her, spilling the Empire's guts, laundering, the hit Dad thwarted, the sabotage that killed him. The beach house sold to fund reparations, stock liquidated for victim trusts. Protests turned parades, LA Weekly dubbing it Twin Reckoning. Mom got the bungalow paid off, a nest egg from the chaos. Me? I pedaled that rusty bike to a gallery opening. My waves on canvas, sold for 5 figures. Art from ashes. But the twist lingered, a barb in the happy-ish ending. Months on, Madison reached out for minimum security, letters in her looping script, claiming the fob revealed more. Harlan wasn't Dad's brother. A half-brother, a fairborn, meaning we weren't pure twins. Imposters both, legacies lies. Was it true? The DNA test I buried said yes. So whose revenge was it really? Hers, for a father who never was? Mine, for a sister who was too much like me? I visit her sometimes, through plexiglass, our faces mirrors again. Regret it? She asks, eyes searching. Every day, I say. And it's true, the power corrupted, the swap scarred. But regret's a rusty chain, I pedal on. The ocean still roars, indifferent, and in its waves, I see us. 2 girls, 1 crash, endless ripples. Who won? You tell me. Justice, or just another American dream drowned?